unfortunately, I'm going to have the other LLC, so you guys need to keep it now until we can get court. So, don't understand me, don't understand me.
Relax, it's only me. Yes, sir.
I'm Tim.
Yes, sir.
And I hear that she likes how she sets up tables and stuff. You know, like, she makes sense.
Yeah. I appreciate the judges who said, consider things that are appreciate that.
So she's going to bring it along. What is it? Okay. Did you know that we were Yes. And they're coming too. I'm sure I can John too. All right. Let's just start one.
There's no way. You have to leave. Everyone has to have their own seat.
No, that's what I'm saying.
All set? Where's Jim? You know where Jim is? Where's Jim? Is he in there?
Folks, once again, these weeks for all self-reference in the office.
You can bring out Ms. Shirilla. Okay. As long as we know what you're doing. That works. We're ready. All right, is everybody ready? So let's go over just some general rules before we get started. All phones are to be turned off. Members of the media may have their phones on, but it must be turned to silent. There will be no in and out of the courtroom. Once the proceedings begin, you may not leave. If you do leave, you will not be permitted to re-enter. Today is an emotional and a stressful day for 3 families, and for the defendant, and for those who care for Davion, Dominic, and Mackenzie. I expect everyone here to be respectful of everyone who's in the room, and if there is any disruptive behavior, I will pause the proceedings and the deputies will escort you out. The court's process will be as follows. I will hear first from the state and the representatives of any of the victims. The court will then hear from the defense and any representatives who wish to speak. The defendant has a constitutional right not to speak. She has exercised that right not to speak at trial, and that right continues throughout this proceeding. She will be afforded the opportunity to speak if she wishes, but that's her choice. Following that portion, the court will deliver the sentence. I also want to advise the defendant that she has a right to an appeal and a transcript at state's expense, and we will assign counsel to represent you. Counsel, we have previously discussed and agreed to the following: that the only counts for which the court will sentence today as a matter of law are counts 1 and 2, each of which is murder in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2903.02a, count 1 being the murder of Dominic Russo, count 2 being the murder of Davion Flanagan. Each of these counts are statutory sentences. Each is 15 years to life with parole eligibility after the base term is served, and with parole strictly within the discretion and jurisdiction of the Ohio Parole Board. Each of these counts stands separate and apart from each other, and they can be run either concurrently or consecutively. That is the only discretion permitted to the court in the sentencing today. It is my understanding that we are also in agreement of the following mergers. As to the guilty verdicts against the defendant related to the victim, Dominic Russo, the counts 3, 5, 6, and 9 merge into count 1. as to the guilty verdicts against the defendant related to the victim, Davion Flanagan, the counts 4, 7, 8, and 10 are merged into count 2. That the rape and toques enhancement and post-release control are not applicable to either count 1 or 2. Is that a correct statement?
That's accurate, Your Honor.
Correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. I do wish to proceed on counts 11 and 12. It's my understanding on these 2 felonies of the 5th degree that both sides are waiving any argument. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is she waiving any statement on counts 11 and 12?
As to those 2 counts, yes.
All right. The defendant is sentencing counts 11 and 12, each of which is a felony of the 5th degree, to 7 months in prison on each count to be served concurrent to each other with credit for time served. Fines and costs are waived. As to the driver's license suspension for counts 9 and 10, the aggravated vehicular homicides, her driver's license is suspended for life. I'm now prepared to hear from anybody who would like to speak on behalf of the state. Good morning. Could you start with your name and speak up and speak slowly?
Yes. Your Honor, my name is Jamie Flanagan. I am the mother of the victim, Davion Flanagan. I want to share a small part of what we lost on 7/31/2022. My son, Davion, is and always will be so much more than cargo. He was precious. He was an amazing soul with a heart of gold. He gave to the world what he wanted most in his own life: love. The kind of love that would rescue a friend in the middle of the night, no questions asked. The kind that would protect others and honor them. He made friends easily with his infectious smile. He was a gifted athlete. He had plans to go to barber school and open his own shop. My son did not have a clique of friends, but instead was a friend to all. He would go out of his way to show love and kindness to others, including those that were often cast aside by society, the less fortunate, the developmentally challenged, the hurting, and the unvalued. Davion made sure that everyone that crossed his path knew that he truly saw them, that he valued them, and that they were worth his time. Davion and my kids have had more than their fair share of heartbreak, of hardship, and of loss. Davion was adopted with his sisters from foster care. They are biological siblings. We are honored to be chosen, or to have been chosen, to be their parents. They're forever family. I am devastated by the loss of Davion. The world lost a truly special man. My girls lost their best friend, their protector, the one and only trusted family that has been by their side from day one. This alone, or he alone, understands the pain and loss that they have gone through and was always there for them. This fact alone breaks my heart for my girls, for my family. So many dreams shattered, a future stolen. We will never get to see the amazing man that he was surely to become. His life was precious. Like I said, he was so much more than cargo. I pray daily for strength and perseverance for myself and for my family. I also pray that Mackenzie will find true remorse in her heart and true repentance. We thank all of those that worked so hard to help us bring justice for our son. We are forever thankful. Davion, we miss you terribly, but as Christians, we grieve with hope. We will make sure your memory lives on, and we ache for the day that we are united again in eternity. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, could you start with your name?
Hi, Your Honor. My name is Davion Flanagan. Davion was my older brother. The passing of Davion Markel Flanagan has been very difficult for me. We have gone through everything together since day one. Davion was a big brother to me and my younger sister, Delia. We all got adopted together in 2012. After Davion passed away, a lot of trauma and past pain has came into my life, causing it to be difficult to heal from this trauma event, or this traumatic event. Davion was not just a big brother to me, but a role model in many ways. He was the person I trusted the most because he made me feel safe. He taught me the importance of cherishing each moment and enjoying life. The memories we have are strong, but losing him has shown me the value of life. He has how God works in ways you can't understand, but is worth it in the end. I don't want this pain for anyone else. I don't want people to have to go through this. As an 18-year-old, I hate the fact that he has gone because someone decided to take his life. Now that Davion is gone, I feel stuck. I feel as if I can't move forward. I feel lost. He was the one who picked me up when I fell. He was my best friend and the only person that has stayed with me since I was born. I would like you to give Mackenzie the longest possible sentence. I've known her for about 3 years, and as she's always taken the easy way out. She will be eligible for parole, while my brother will be gone forever. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good morning, can you start with your name?
I'm Christine Russo. I'm Dominic's mother. No one wanted this to be a murder or to punish Mackenzie Shirilla for this accident. But this was not a car accident. The evidence and science proved that Mackenzie Shirilla murdered my son, Dominic, as well as Davion. There's no fix put in this case, as the Shirillas would like to proclaim. I want to thank Strongsville Police Department and the state of Ohio for seeking the truth behind this crash. Thanks to them, we all know what happened in that car that day. What we don't know is why. I wish I could change this every day. I lost 3 children in that crash. Not a minute goes by each day that I don't think about my son, as well as Davion. My heart is forever broken. The cries heard from the Shirilla family and friends after the verdict are nothing more than a lack of remorse. Mackenzie Shirilla had a choice. Dom and Davion did not. We are all left here to mourn. But what Dominic and Davion lost can never be remedied in any way or by any particular sentence. July 31st, 2022, I called Mackenzie's mother, hysterical at the loss of my son and Davion. I knew Mackenzie was in the hospital, and the first statement said to me was, "Oh, please don't listen to what everyone's saying on Facebook." Yeah, my son is dead, his friend is dead, and I'm checking on yours. Yet social media is what's important. Social media has made a game out of the life of Mackenzie and is making a game out of this heart-wrenching tragedy. No one can imagine the pain of losing a child unless they've lost one themselves. The pain is forevermore. Time does not heal this wound. Mackenzie, going to prison because you did this. Be thankful that you're still alive and have a future, whatever that may be. Dom and Davion were robbed of their futures, their hopes, and their dreams. Mackenzie showed no mercy on Dominic, nor did she on Davion. Only God at this time can have mercy on her soul. Thank you.
Could you start with your name, please?
Yes. Should my name... Is there a microphone or anything?
These are, I can hear you.
Should my name is Angelo Russo. I'm one of Dominic's older brothers, and I'm speaking today for myself and also on the behalf of our siblings and our friends. Sorry. Dom may have been young, but he made the most of each day and had an impact on the lives of his friends and his family. Dom was a businessman, an athlete, a song producer, and an entrepreneur. Dom was not only my brother, he was also my best friend, and the friends in this courtroom also say Dom was their best friend. Many of my brother's interests and goals were centered on learning more about himself and how he could become a better person. He was always doing what he could to learn about others, how he could understand different situations, different cultures, and how he could better the community. He read from various authors every day and even recommended to me countless books that have made me a better person and helped me understand the world better. A few months before he passed, he told me that he soon planned on joining a branch of the military. Admittingly, I was against this, but he felt the need to not only serve the community, but also his country. He gave me countless advice, and he also helped with anything and everything. Nothing said or done here today can describe the loss or repair our lives after this tragedy. Kenzie's statement in the hospital to Detective Azu, "Can't you just take my license away for 10 years or something?" That statement is Mackenzie Shirilla. The most selfish person I know. Ironically, Dom was the most selfless person I know. Mackenzie Shirilla murdered Dom and Davion in cold blood and had already moved on. Kenzie killed Dom over the thought of losing him, and she made Davion collateral damage. She was driving, going to concerts, and dressing up for Halloween, no thoughts of the families and lives that she had destroyed. As I said, Dom read a book every day. He started 2 companies. He recorded his own music, as well as recording music with myself and with friends. Dom helped anyone who ever needed a hand. He was an inspiration to everyone who had the honor of meeting Dominic. We love you, Dom. We love you, Davion. And God bless the both of you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Troop, before you speak, have you marked these letters as exhibits to be part of the record?
I have, Your Honor.
And any objection from Mr. McDonald?
No, Your Honor.
And have you marked your letters?
I have.
Okay, if you would give those both to the court, please. Go ahead.
Your Honor, there's very little that I can say after hearing from those who love Dominic and Davion in regards to the impact that the defendant's conduct had on these families' lives. And we have received a series of letters that has been submitted on behalf of the defendant. In summarizing these, they describe her as a good student and a loving and caring person, and that she could never do something like this. And they continually, despite the verdict, refer to this as an accident and an unfortunate accident and tell you that she is also a victim. And there are just a few things that I think is important for the court to consider in determining a sentence today. Part of the evidence in this case and introduced in trial was evidence from the defendant's cell phone. There were search warrants executed on her various social media accounts, her school records, her medical records, things of this nature. And I think that who she actually was is directly contradictory to what is painted by the letter submitted on behalf of her today. One moment. I'm sorry, Judge, I thought
It's
we were
okay.
set on this there.
That's fine.
I'm not even cool. I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die.
Gotta figure like a pin, I'm gotta figure like a doll. Don't care if you think I'm dumb, I don't care at all. Can't even sweet if I wanna be adored. I'm the girl you die for.
Objection, Judge, none of this was introduced in the trial.
Shortly after the crash, Strongsville police were notified that they had received concerning emails from the community that the defendant and her mother were seeking employment with the Los Angeles modeling agency. Mackenzie Shirilla said to Vitali, "Thank you for the comment. I would love to work with you guys. I've been emailing you guys a lot. Such a great opportunity. Thank you."
Is there a date?
There is not a date on this, Your Honor. Based on the investigation, it was delivered to the police while the defendant was still in the Metro Health Hospital. So it was during that time period. She was in the hospital for several weeks. Shortly after being released from the hospital, the police were provided additional videos of the defendant from her wheelchair as she attended a concert down in the Flats. And again, Your Honor, I'm introducing these to the court to show the shocking lack of remorse. This was something that was being exhibited while the investigation was still going on, before she was charged and arrested in November of last year. And these were the sort of things that were coming to the police, and the shocking lack of remorse, coupled with the fact that the defendant was reported driving an automobile shortly after this event, that she was seen in Strongsville again driving a car. In spite of the fact that, as her mother testified, she got dizzy sometimes from a condition that she had to take salt pills for, in spite of the fact that it was, in fact, her mother who provided her with the car that she used to take Dominic and Davion's life. Halloween of last year, again, still before being charged, Mackenzie Shirilla celebrated Halloween with her friends at Ohio University.
Baby, that's all we need. We can go to the dog, at the dog, smoke that dumb weed. As a matter.
Judge, can I just make one continuing objection?
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Are these post?
These are on Halloween of last year, so these would be post-crash, just before she was charged in November. We think the defendant has shown a shocking lack of remorse, Your Honor. We think that she has continually put forward that this was an accident, in spite of the fact that the evidence is in direct contradiction. Your Honor, you were on Progress Drive. You saw the evidence that was displayed in court. And Your Honor, we think that you are the person who is in the best position to decide an appropriate sentence. We have full confidence in the sentence that you'll give, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald?
Your Honor, may it please the court, I ask you to allow Mrs. Shirilla to address the court first.
Okay, that's fine. Can you start with your name?
My name is Natalie Shirilla. I just want to say, am I allowed to address them at all?
Sure.
I just want to say to the families that I'm broken, sad, and lost, and my heart hurts for everyone, okay? Davion was her new friend, and Dom was the love of her life, and he was part of our family, okay? I'm just so sorry that this happened, and we're heartbroken, okay? And then, Your Honor, this was a terrible, tragic nightmare accident to have happened that she has no memory of, and she will never emotionally or physically recover from it. She almost died too, and we're asking that you please not run the sentence as consecutive. He was family, and we all loved each other. That morning of the accident, she called. I got a phone call that there was a car accident. Okay, so we went to the hospital, and I didn't even know who was in the car. The names had not been confirmed yet. And I was like, I'm going to cry because I missed Dom so much. We loved him so much. So I called Dom, like over and over again, praying that he was going to answer the phone, and he didn't answer the phone. So then I tried to call his mom, and she didn't answer the phone either. And I still didn't know who was in the car. I didn't even know if she was alive. I didn't know what was happening. So then we were in the waiting room. And then his mom she did call me, so I answered the phone, and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't even know who was in the car, like, what's happening, was that Dom? And she said, what do you mean, my son is dead? And I was like, I'm so sorry. And then she said something like, and now I have to wait until your kid's out of the hospital, and then I didn't hear the rest. I was like, we loved him so much, and I hung up the phone. I did not talk about social media. I didn't even know what was going on yet, okay? So then, that was it. In the hospital, that Vitality post, I commented on that because somebody had called her a murderer, okay? And she's not a murderer, so she didn't even have her phone at that point because the police had still had it, okay? So I jumped on, and I was like, you know, she's not a murderer. She's more sad than most of these people commenting. She's been trying to get in touch with you. I mean, at that point, it was just an accident. So I commented on her behalf, not because of the modeling opportunity. Who cares about that? I don't want them to refer to her as a murderer, okay? And I don't even know how that comment had got on the phone because the police still had her device, and she could not access her phone or social media. That's why I did it. And I had called them asking if they could shut down social media because people were calling her a murderer and making death threats and organizing groups to, you know, take her out when she got out of the hospital and stuff. So I don't even want her phone. I don't care about her phone. I don't care about social media. I just wanted them to stop calling her a murderer so that when she did come to, and she did come out of surgery, multiple surgeries, that she wouldn't see all these people calling her a murderer because she would never, ever, ever murder the love of her life. Okay? For Halloween, for 3 months after the accident, she would only wear his clothes. She would only eat the snacks he ate. She would only listen to the music he wrote, okay? She was laying in bed for 3 months crying. There was a shrine of him next to her with photos and things that he liked and this flower that lights up that he got her because he wanted it to be fresh and alive forever. It's like a little Beauty and the Beast flower. Okay, she's got this shrine of him next to her. So she was crying for 3 months. So her friends asked if she wanted to go out trick-or-treating or Halloween, and it was at OU. And she didn't even want to go. She said, I don't know, should I go? She couldn't even walk yet, barely. So I told her, I said, baby, please go. It's Halloween. You've been laying for 3 months crying, only listening to his music. Please go. Have just a moment of fun. A moment of fun. So we told her to go. My husband drove her. I brought her back home. She just needed a second of fun from losing her whole world. Her whole world. So that was us. We told her to go. And that concert she went to with Dom's cousin, Abby, they picked her up. They brought her there. That was Dom, Mackenzie and Dom and Abby all decided to go to this concert together while they were in the hospital. That was for Dom. Everything she did after the accident was either in honor of him, to be close to him, or just to be by him any way that she can. She's like devastated and tragic. He was the air that she breathes, okay? And they went with his cousin. We spent all kinds of time with him after the accident. What was the other thing?
I'm hearing an awful lot about your daughter. I'm not hearing very much about the two dead people.
Dominic, okay, I'm asking you for a leniency because this was a tragic accident that she does not remember. And Davion, he's a new friend. And I'm so sorry.
What does that mean? His life is worthless?
No.
Okay.
God, no, not at all. They all loved each other. They all spent every day together. You know what I mean? I don't know
and
too much for him.
isn't that part of the problem, Mrs. Shirilla?
Sorry?
Isn't that part of the problem, that they all trusted each other? Isn't that part of...
It's not a problem at all. It was
It's
wonderful.
a problem how they all ended up in the car together and two of them ended up dead.
I understand. I understand what it looks like. I'm saying that it was a tragic accident. She would never.
Well, we're going to have to disagree on that.
I understand.
Right. And I respect your position, but you disagree with me.
I understand. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to address those. We told her to go to those things, and then she did go with Dom's family. So look at that. Don't look at it with the... Look on that with different eyes if you can, please.
Those things are not relevant.
Not at all. Not at all.
No,
Not at all.
I agree.
She's a good, if you would have a moment, all you would need is 5 minutes of a conversation to have with her to learn who she is. Just that, you would just need 5 minutes to learn who she is and what she's capable of not doing and doing, and you would see for yourself.
Thank you.
That's all. I'm so sorry, guys.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I love you.
Not to. Is there anyone else?
I would like Mackenzie to address the court.
Mackenzie, you don't have to speak if you don't want to. It's up to you. Okay?
You want me to stand up right here?
You can sit if it's more comfortable, whatever's better for you.
The families of Dom and Davion, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davion. We were all friends and Dom was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away. And I'm so sorry. And to my family, thank you for the support and all the love you guys give. Thank you for fighting with me. I love you all so much. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else from the defense?
If I could address the court, Judge. Your Honor, may it please the court. First of all, I'd like to extend my condolences to the Russo and Flanagan family. I can't imagine how difficult this is. It's terrible. People's acts have consequences, and the consequences here are up to you. You have a range of possibilities as it relates to a girl who was 17 at the time, who is now 19 years old, and has no criminal record. And as you so correctly pointed out in the opening, the decision when she gets out is up to the parole board. And we know how the parole board operates, and we know that everybody gets flopped at least once. So a 15-year sentence becomes a 20-year sentence at minimum. And it'll be up to this young lady here as to how she's going to conduct herself for the next 20 years or whatever the sentence would be. That would be number one. Second of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for allowing and taking the time to read those letters. And I would like to concentrate on the letters from the people from juvenile court. First of all, Ms. Smith and Ms. Kent. They have been the people who have monitored her progress since she was entered the juvenile detention facility, where she was for about 9 months. And I would like to commend them for writing these letters, because ultimately, or initially, I tried to have them send a letter and the people at juvenile court wouldn't let them. And so they sent these letters anyways. And what do we see from their letters? We actually see where both of them say that she expressed remorse during the time. What the prosecutor played there was after the accident and way before she was ever incarcerated. They also both say that they have observed her grow as a person, that she's taken every single class possible, both culinary and college, that she's actually been a model inmate, the letters say, and that she has exhibited what they call the highest level of behavior. They grade people 1, 2, 3, 4. The better your behavior, the higher the number. She has always received the highest number. She's also been receptive to counseling, and as Ms. Kent said, she has been making amends. I'd ask you to pay special attention to the letter from Kelly Leitner that I think talks about certain, she cites certain things. Ms. Leitner is asking you to consider that the brain is not fully developed until 25 years or older. Her choices, Mackenzie's, and actions are indicative of teenage invincibility. While, based on your decision, you don't find that, I find that there are. I remember when I was young, the dumbest things I ever did, and I'd hate to be judged for those things. So really now I'm going to give you my observations, because I understand when you talked with Mackenzie's mother about acceptance of responsibility, etc. All I can tell you is that from the moment I met this young lady here, she expressed sorrow. And I would say during the course of this trial, in the initial emails and statements, she said, "I'm sorry for what you did." The prosecutor has said that she hasn't accepted responsibility. Well, as you remember, during the course of this trial, our defense was that it was a reckless homicide. That's taking responsibility for what she believes happened. So I would respectfully disagree with that. I've seen her express true remorse in the times that I met her in jail, and I don't think it's self-serving. And I'm going to say, as an officer of the court, that I feel very confident saying that she has expressed true remorse. So ultimately, another thing that you have to ask for is the likelihood of recidivism, etc. Based upon all of those things, I respectfully request that you run the sentences concurrently. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak?
Not on behalf of the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Today is the sentencing of the defendant for the purposeful and intentional murders of Davion Flanagan and Dominic Russo. And in a way, it's the second time their families are gathered again to grieve. It's also a day when Mackenzie's family will grieve for the future of their daughter. All three of these families and the friends of these families are suffering, and all of their lives have been irrevocably changed because of the actions of the defendant. The unintended and collateral consequences of a selfish, intentional, and cruel decision by Mackenzie will ripple forever in time. It's literally changed history because it's ended 2 lives. 2 young men are dead. Their deaths were horrible, terrifying, and tragic. I will say again, if any reasonable person reviews Exhibit 802, there can be no doubt in your mind what happened this night. There can be no doubt of the absolute terror of the 2 people in that car. The defendant controlled all the events. She chose the day. Specifically, she chose a day just before her 18th birthday. She chose to drive the car, the time to drive the car. She chose an obscure, previously scouted route through an industrial parkway. She chose the target to hit and the victims. She chose the means and the method to follow through. And she planned and purposefully executed the events of July 31st, 2022. The review of the evidence supports the factual findings, the forensic testimony, the testimony of the first responders, the testimony of the emergency room doctors who treated the defendant, the testimony of the coroner's medical examiner, the testimony of those who knew the victims and the defendant, and the testimony of the BMV official who provided evidence that not only did the defendant deny any medical condition when applying for her license, which her mother co-signed and attested to, but also that just after the accident, Mackenzie renewed her driver's license and again denied any medical condition. In fact, the defendant was so concerned about driving that, as the state mentioned, during the investigation, she asked if they could just suspend her license for 10 years. It is hard to fathom how a person could be concerned about their driving privileges, having just been responsible for the deaths of 2 people. There was no medical condition that caused this as an accident. There was no mechanical failure of the car. The record is clear on the facts and the evidence. Her mother's uncorroborated statements without any medical testimony or records is not persuasive. It is also important to remember that even if Mackenzie intended to also die in this crash, that is irrelevant. A failed suicide attempt is not a defense to murder. And even in a murder-suicide attempt, when the perpetrator executing the plan survives, the other death or deaths are still murder. There's only one person who's responsible for the pain of everyone in this room, and that person is you, Mackenzie. Nobody else is responsible. This isn't the fault of Dominic's family, or Davion's family, or your family. And I know that each of you have asked your questions to yourselves, what if? What if I had done this or that? The truth of it is, none of us can control the intentions of another. And when there is a purposeful intent to harm or kill someone, it is the perpetrator alone who bears the responsibility for the choice and the consequences and the harm that follows. The difficulty for sentencing today, honestly, is whether or not I believe you should get consecutive sentences. I'm troubled that should I give you a concurrent sentence, that people will believe that somehow I'm being disrespectful to one of the victims. And on the other hand, I have to weigh the punishment. There's a very good likelihood, Mackenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison. That won't be up to me. That will be up to the parole board, and that will be up to you to a great extent. I understand that the pain in this room wants me to impose the harshest sentence, but I don't believe that would be the appropriate sentence, because I do believe that Mackenzie will not be out in 15 years. So she's sentenced on count 2, the murder of Davion Flanagan, 15 years to life. She's sentenced on count 1, the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to each other with credit for time served. I'll waive fines, fees, and costs, and your appellate counsel will be assigned. Are there any questions from the state?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
You're innocent.